Our clients have embraced diversity on a large formal scale this past year. Many have drafted statements of commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion, or DE&I. To be in lockstep with our clients and assignees, IOR has undertaken a diversity inclusion initiative. Today's webinar is a part of IOR's initiative on DE&I.
Hello, I'm Teresa Gutierrez, Director of Intercultural Solutions at IOR, as well as the lead for IOR's Diversity Inclusion Initiative. Thank you so much for joining us today for IOR's webinar on diversity and inclusion. Here at IOR, the very nature of our work and our success requires embracing diversity while providing best-in-class service to our assignees. It is what we do. Many of us are drawn to the field because we are passionate about celebrating differences and engaging with people from other cultures and countries. This quality is core to IOR success. Most of today's leading companies have made a firm commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion. Spurred on by national events, it's the right thing to do, but also increasingly data shows that diverse organizations outperform their competition. Many of our assignees are coming from workplace organizations that have a strong diversity and inclusion drive, so they will expect this in our services. Not only that, we do face an increasingly diverse assignee population. So while most companies and most assignees will expect organizations and partners to be beyond the check the box diversity and inclusion, we do emphasize that DEI is a journey. Companies, teams, organizations, and even individuals are all at different places on this journey towards DEI in our industry. This may help explain some of the terminology that you may have heard, such as DEI, DEIB, JEDI, I&D. The basic components of the conversation we're talking about are diversity, equity, inclusion, belonging, access. Diversity means moving towards having a range of people with various racial, ethnic, socioeconomic, gender, culture backgrounds, lifestyle experiences, interests, academic backgrounds. This is what we mean by diversity. The basis of a more inclusive work style starts with you, self-awareness. To work more inclusively, each of us must be aware and acknowledge that our ideas, beliefs, and perceptions about others and of situations, those ideas are shaped by our own assumptions. They're shaped by our culture. They're shaped by our past individual experiences. By maintaining this self-awareness of our own biases, we can acknowledge that the ideas that we have may not be rooted in evidence or truth and challenge ourselves and ask questions about those notions that we have. For more, let's listen to this.
What would the world look like if everybody were aware of the stereotypes that they have and the biases that they have? When we talk about unconscious bias, we're basically saying our worldview can actually exert an influence beyond our conscious awareness.
These biases, they're the shortcuts that our brain has created so that we can deal with the information that we process every single day.
Right when we see anyone, whether we think about it or not, we are implicitly, automatically making judgments about how warm and competent that person or thing is.
Every single person is great at things that you may not expect them to be, but it's really hard for us to see that when we're so powerfully guided by the things we expect to be true in the world.
People are very wedded to the idea that they can perceive something objectively, and statistically they're wrong, but it's hard You become attached to this idea that you can assess something by looking at it.
If you're not conscious of the biases that you have, you're just not contributing at the level that you could, and you're not innovating at the level you could, and so your products won't be as good.
At IOR, we are really proud of our consultants winning accolades and awards in the mobility industry for practicing excellent, top-notch customer service. Please continue to do that in terms of your DE&I growth as well. Practice flexibility, patience, continue with empathy, wanting to learn more about the individual or the family that you're working with. Ask questions, display curiosity. And last, listen, listen, listen. What is being said? What is perhaps not being said or asked? Lean in, go ahead and ask, invite the conversation and open the door. Your assignees will benefit from it and you'll feel so much better. And know this, please practice getting comfortable with the uncomfortable. Please go ahead and lean in, as people are saying, and ask your assignee by expressing good intent at first. Excuse me, how do I pronounce your name exactly? Because it's really important to me that I'm saying your name properly. Can you please repeat your name? Some ideas to help ensure that our assignees feel included and heard. Take a look at any email you have, any written messages, any standard greetings. Just take a look at those and ask yourself, is there any bias included in this? Am I using some language that perhaps could be more inclusive? In addition to having a closer look at the language, the greetings you use, the emails that you write, having a review of that, in addition to that, go ahead and look at some of the practices that you take. What is it that I usually do? Could those be more inclusive, those things? When I'm looking in this neighborhood or in that neighborhood, how do I make the decisions on how to base the neighborhoods? Is it just driven by budget? Are there other factors I can look at? These shortcuts and assumptions can be very useful. They provide very useful information based on our past experiences and help inform us about how best to provide customer service for our assignees. On the other hand, these shortcuts can also give us a very distorted perception. They can convince us that our preconceived ideas are objective, when in fact, our unconscious ideas are informed by a very limited perception. The big takeaway from today's webinar is to work on developing your level of self-awareness when it comes to the cognitive shortcuts that we all take. Practice challenging yourself in uncomfortable conversations. When was the last time you challenged yourself or your own perceptions in a situation or with the person in a discussion? Can you identify your biases? Reach outside of your own boundaries. Try adding an unfamiliar neighborhood to your home search, perhaps. One that you may have formed some perceptions, written off, but have not done much research. A good neighborhood for you and your needs might work well for an assignee. However, challenge your assumptions to ask the assignee more about their priorities and listen, listen, listen. You will add to your toolkit. On behalf of IOR, thank you for tuning in to today's session. We greatly appreciate the award-winning customer service you provide to IOR's assignees. If you'd like to learn more about IOR's Diversity and Inclusion Initiative, please let us know. Thank you and keep going.